Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring in our bottom left-hand side, TheMacGuy. He is our blue Protoss. At the time of this recording, he's in bronze. However, I believe he was on his way up the ladder, probably just now doing his placement matches, but he is currently in gold, high gold, mid-gold, something like that, 20 gold. And his opponent is in our bottom right-hand side, EmilyMoore, our red Zerg. Emily is at the time of this recording, I think silver, 2 silver, so almost popping up to gold, almost. Don't know if you guys are familiar with EmilyMoore. She is the lead vocalist of the band Fun, female vocalist. I think they have a male vocalist also. My brother's actually going to be seeing them in concert this Saturday, and he's super excited about that. So I googled their band, I checked out that name, and I recognize this. I know Emily. No, I don't. I know of Emily. How about that? Regardless, she is a silver player Zerg, and in the bottom right hand side, so we've got Newkirk Precinct, or no, District. Precinct is the new one. District is the old one, which has this whole area still, unusable terrain. Now in the new one, it's open and really wide, and kind of gives you a supplemental pathway into the fourth. And also the chokes are just a little bit more narrow. Now you've got a lot of places that the death ball can kind of square up and not get surrounded, so that's going to be working in EmilyMoore's favor. Whereas the supplemental pathways are really going to be working in the MacGuy's favor. So yeah, 6 in one hand, half dozen the other. No real advantage one way or another for either player. We see a spawning first build coming out from EmilyMoore, and we see the gateway and assimilator coming out from the MacGuy. So very traditional openings for both players. 15 pool. You see a lot of the pros go hatch first, especially on a map as wide as Newkirk Precinct or District. Pardon, I'm going to be doing that all day. But the reason that Emily's doing this is because this is on the ladder, and on the ladder you have to worry constantly about some sort of photon cannon rush, some sort of 2-gate proxy or something like that. And because of that, it can really be a great boon to get the spawning pool out first. It's a very safe and traditional build, which can work into your advantage. Gas going down also. This is also kind of safe and cool. You really don't see it very often, but the Overlord being positioned over the hatchery can give you a bit of an early warning sign if your opponent is going to be cannon rushing. And when you're in bronze, silver, or diamond, cannon rushes are definitely about 20% of the games that you play, even though sometimes when you're not even versing a Protoss, they just show up and build cannons. It's ridiculous. So Overlord being positioned over the hatchery. Hatchery does not give you a lot of vision. Overlord can allow you to see what shenanigans the probe's getting up to. The probe did indeed pop down here, but we don't see a forge having been constructed by the MacGuy at all back at home, so we don't have to worry about any sort of cheese at all. Very traditional, very normal play for both players. But this is cool, and it comes at a cost. The Overlord is supposed to be sent out over here. Second Overlord comes here and hangs out until it needs to be suicided into the enemy's base. About the 10-minute mark, you just suicide in an Overlord to see exactly what the MacGuy's getting up to. Wow, this is terrible SimCity. So this cybernetics core, this is just like a huge wall-off gap, basically. Not only is this double wide, I believe you're going to need 2 zealots standing side by side, but also I think that the north side is another pathway for those Zerglings to get out. So he's going to be relying pretty much exclusively on those sentries, and double gateway going down means that he's probably going to be throwing out another structure. Could be a robo, could be a forge, could be a Stargate. Only time will tell. He's got the extra gas for it, though. I mean, he's got 2 gas fully saturated and 200 gas saved up, so he's probably going to be throwing that any second now. Good job taking both of the Xel'Naga watchtowers. We're going to see where these Overlords go. Newkirk Precinct, unlike any other map, has just a ridiculous number of places that you can hide an Overlord. Any one of these little doodads you can hide an Overlord on and just keep watch like an eagle over anything that's coming out. Unfortunately, most of the Protoss pushes take place with a mothership, and the mothership core can spot those high grounds too, and your Overlords get picked off. So got to be careful on that against Protoss. And then again with the Terran, when they decide to push out, they almost always have medevacs with them, which can also scout that high ground. Really, that only plays a huge role whenever it's Zerg versus Zerg, even though both players' Overlords are going to be, seeing each other. You really don't have anything that shoots up that's very, very fast till you get those Hydralisks out there, and by then, who cares? You've got millions of dollars you can just blow on all sorts of Overlords. We do see, this guy's heading in the correct positioning for that Overlord. Maybe he's going to be suiciding that in, but we did see a Zergling getting suicided in from EmilyMoore, just seeing exactly what's going on. The MacGuy does have 4 sentries out right now, almost all of which have almost enough to throw down 2 force fields each. And with 4 sentries out there, that's 8 force fields. I did that math in my head. And that's an intimidating amount, a very intimidating amount, to the fact that Emily's actually gotten a lot of Zerglings out, constructing a spine crawler. 4 queens total, I think? Nope, just the 3. No, there's the 4th. Awesome. I thought I saw 4. 4 queens total, a very defensive build, and in reality, 4 queens is a waste. I mean, you built 1 extra queen. You do not need that queen unless it's for defense, and you can justify that expense by cutting Zerglings, and being forced to build Zerglings is bad for Emily. She doesn't want to do that. She's building 6 more Zerglings, wasting a lot of drones, really wants those in the larva that she can use to make drones or keep herself from the supply box, make that economy booming. You can also see that she's almost got 300 minerals. She really wants to take that 3rd, but she knows that this strike force is a field from the TheMacGuy, and she doesn't want to take that 3rd without being ensured of the fact that she can hold it. And this is intimidating. This is something that she can't really deal with unless that creep spread is at the 3rd and it's a little bit behind. So she's ultimately forced to kind of sit on her hands while the TheMacGuy is just running around absolutely doing anything he wants to. We see the Zergling speed is done. We got 200 extra gas. Where is the lair? No lair to speak of, but we do have the Roach Warren going down. There goes the lair. Awesome. Good, good, good. Lair has also been started. It looks like the Zergling is going to be doing a run-by. Which is cool because, like I said, these queens are really good for defense when they have creep. We've got the spine crawler up. She doesn't have to worry too much about the TheMacGuy pushing up into her base, but the TheMacGuy does have to worry about Emily pushing up into his, and it looks like this Nexus is going to get fully surrounded, canceled even, despite the fact that just a handful of Zealots were back at home, and now these Zerglings are going to be running up into the probe line. Great decision here by EmilyMoore. Like I was saying, she was nervous. She was nervous of the fact that this strike force from the TheMacGuy was a field, nervous of the fact that she could not get her 3rd, but she knew that her natural was pretty much unassailable. So she made the correct decision of doing that run by and ultimately really forced the TheMacGuy to cancel his Nexus, which is a major, major win. Not going to pick off too many of these probes. Probes are turning around. Stalkers and Zealots more than enough to clean them up, especially whenever you factor in the sentries now coming back. But these sentries had to retreat, and the second she saw those sentries being retreated, throws down that hatchery. Creep spread's almost at the 3rd. What a ridiculous number of Zerglings. That's huge. You know what? I wouldn't have constructed a single more extra Zergling. I would have just done pure roaches if I was in her position. But whatever. Who cares? 2 Evo chambers also going down. The lair is already done. Yeah, the TheMacGuy is probably going to be heading over immediately to check out the 3rd, especially with his +1 finishing. But you know what? The gig's up. The creep spread's almost there. She's going to be able to transition down with that spine crawler, and her economy is going to be just a little bit better than him because he's got that Nexus up. Yeah, +1 is done, and the Colossus is coming out too, but I think Emily definitely came out ahead in that engagement. Glial Reconstitution is also being started. Please note that both of the Evo chambers, they're not doing anything. They've been constructed for a while now. She's got extra gas. This is a misstep. Should start on that +1/+1 immediately. Awesome. It looks like this 3rd might be going down just with that extra Colossus. This is interesting misstep. This is something that Emily should do, is push in with these Zerglings just far enough to bait out the force fields. Remember, there are now 5 sentries in this death ball, basically. All those have almost, oh wow, full energy. So we're looking at like 16 force fields that she can throw down. That he can throw down. They're both females. The TheMacGuy can throw down. And you're not going to be able to get those force fields out of the way. Oh my goodness, the Colossus gets surrounded by the Zerglings. That's just absolutely brutal. And with that goes all the AoE. Out of the only 2 force fields being thrown down out of the possible 16, the Roaches are now out on the field. It looks like the 1-1 is only about halfway done, but Glial Reconstitution will be finishing at the end of this. Oh my lord. The TheMacGuy definitely botching that engagement because he just did not throw down the force fields, but he did force the cancel on the 3rd. So Emily's now going to be feeling a little bit behind on their economy. On the flip side of that, she doesn't realize how bad the TheMacGuy is at building probes because he doesn't have any in his natural at all. So she's going to be pushing out with just the end of her 1-1, just a couple seconds away. But with Glial Reconstitution done, a whole lot of Zerglings and Roaches on the field, and absolutely no wall off to speak of. Yeah, we got 2 photon cannons, but these photon cannons should be behind a wall. In reality, this is just going to be a slaughter. These Roaches are pushing in. Oh my goodness, the Colossus on the low ground, really opening itself up to the Roaches and the Zerglings combined fire. Everything from the TheMacGuy just melts away, and EmilyMoore just takes this game. You know what? Actually, a couple things. The Mac guy set himself up for failure because of his SimCity. Warpgate and the Cybernex core, you just have a single zealot on. If this wall off was done correctly, have a single zealot on hold position. He had 2 at home. There's absolutely no reason for that run by to have been as wildly successful as it was. Worst case scenario, you get the cancel on the Nexus, your standing force has to retreat, and then you slaughter all those Zerglings, and you come out roughly even, a little bit delayed on your Nexus. Secondly, there's no reason this should be as successful. This should have to be accompanied with Banelings. These guys should have to be Banelings in order for this to work, because the Protoss has a wall off that's complete. You've got 2 gateways over here, adding on another gateway, all of these pylons, all of this extra crap like the forge should have been built down here on the low ground to protect the natural. And by leaving this enormous ramp totally wide open, you're just begging for Zerg to come in, get a surround on your units, and crush them. And then what are you going to be relying on to keep Zerg from getting a surround on your unit? That's the sentries. He had 5 sentries with 200 energy, and he threw down 2 force fields, I think, 1 and 2, and then maybe another one over here. So that's 3. That's really bad. Like, you need those force fields. That's what makes your composition work. And that's what I was saying about EmilyMoore whenever that third was going down. She kind of ran in with her Zerglings and then immediately turned around and ran away. But by doing that, if you stick around just for 1 or 2 seconds longer, you can bait out some force fields from a better Protoss player. A better Protoss player would see those Zerglings coming, throw down immediately 2 force fields like here and here, and make it so that the Zerglings had to funnel in, and then when half of your Zerglings were in the trap, close the trap with another force field. So you come in with your Zerglings, and you bait out the 2 force fields, and then you retreat. And there's 2 force fields wasted. And you just do that 2 or 3 times. This is something you absolutely have to do if you're going to see that Immortal Sentry Zealot all-in, which was incredibly popular at the end of Wings of Liberty. And guess what? They didn't nerf anything of that. It's just gone away in the meta. Anybody does that on ladder, it's just a ridiculously powerful build. And it's because it requires a very advanced technique, which is baiting out those force fields. So that is cool. Small tips for EmilyMoore, I guess, would be better positioning of your overlords. Like I said, there's a lot of very high doodads, and we didn't see a single mothership core out of the TheMacGuy. So your guys would have been perfectly safe. Maybe you would have lost 1 or 2 once the Colossus gets out there, but it's still going to really warn you exactly where that enemy composition is going to be. And you lost 2 queens because you weren't expecting them to go north. Maybe if you had those overlords out there, you could have kept them alive a little bit longer. I love the run by. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh yeah, your 1-1 didn't finish by the time you did the push. I totally get having to do the push, strike while the iron is hot and all that jazz, but be mindful of the fact that your 1-1's going to finish. If this fight was a little bit harder maybe, or if that wall off was complete, it would have been much more prudent of you just to wait, bait in with a couple of Zerglings, test the waters to see if indeed it is something that you can actually do, and then wait for that 1-1 to finish so that your composition can really do the damage that it justifies the expense. Whatever. Great game. I like it a lot. Definitely not indicative of bronze versus a silver. It was more gold on gold. And that's all I really have to say about that, except for I love you and thank you for watching my video. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary. Bye.